the resistance.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tim Man with Worldwide Resistance Network, Chris Sheldon. If you are watching this, you are the Resistance. Joining me today is good old Reverend Ordo, Curse Zero, Jenny, Queen Bitch, and we are all tired as fuck. Apparently, we all had a sleepy start this morning. But we're here. We're live. We have Meth Monster Blue in our system, the fictitious product that doesn't actually exist because it's just a monster can with duct tape on it. And why is it fictitious? Because we're not sponsored by anybody, because we are of the people, by the people, for the people. So if you like this broadcast, share the live feeds, follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN, and check us out on our online store. There's a great merchandise there, all at REALTWWRN.printify.me. And as always, comments are now enabled, so feel free to be a part of the conversation. This is probably one of the only podcasts, if not the only podcast, where you are included in the show from beginning to end, where most hosts would pretty much just go, oh, here's a hotline number, call in and share your thoughts. Now, you come be a part of the show, be a part of the conversation, talk with us. And Aaron Roel 2410 said first. Yes, you are the first to comment. Welcome, Aaron. How you doing, buddy? This is gonna be an interesting topic today. Revan, you want to go ahead and plug your shit real quick before we go into anything?
He plugged his ears.
Okay. Yeah, I was up last night doing I was part of a broadcast talking about the inner workings of cults.
Oh, nice.
Last night, and man, it was 90 minutes of talking about the inner workings of cults and the breakdowns and stuff, and man, it was awesome. And it started to get views like crazy. Right now, it has 98 views.
Not bad, not bad.
All within 2 hours after the dude, I mean, it was like, dude. The way that cults work is kind of like, I mean, it's all the same thing.
Yeah,
It's all the same thing.
Brainwash bullshit.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I mean, dude, it's the inner workings of a cult is just like nuts, man.
Yeah, as Aaron just pointed out, the inner workings of a cult is typically the leader's penis.
Exactly. Or her badge. Depends on if the...
Are you talking about Sheree Donato? She's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. She died like in the early 2000s, didn't she? The leader of Morning Land, or the spouse of the leader of Morning Land?
I think so.
Yeah, she died a long time ago, but they're still around, surprisingly.
Oh yeah, but we were talking about even how ordinary. I mean, let me get illustrate here. The person we're talking about what is also a victim, but he acts like a cult leader. So,
oh wow.
But I won't say his name or whatever. But it's
we'll just refer people to the video. Where can they find the video?
Your lies, your lies are.
The channel name is Your Lies Are. And for those of you who might be tuning in, who might want to have a bitch fit about Zero smoking weed, he does live in an area where it is legal, and he does have a prescription. So if somebody doesn't like the fact that he's smoking weed, you can bite his dink, because the man has a
Don't bite my dick.
You can suck his dink. He's got the Tommy Chong thing going here, and he's got a prescription and lives in a state where it's legal, so you don't like it too bad. And moving into today's topic, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pull up the article. Teen boy body slams girl over phone number refusal in East Harlem. The brutal attack unfolded on April 20th near East 107th Street and 3rd Avenue, captured on video as the masked boy stomped her head while friends filmed and laughed. The girl suffered a concussion, bleeding, crushing headaches, a twisted neck, and possible brain damage. Her mother, Lucinda Arroyo, pulled her from East Harlem School Academy Character School due to safety concerns and the boy's prior troublemaking. Niger Allen faces second-degree assault charges and was remanded to custody, while his mother claims the girl bullied him first with pushes, messages, and slurs, a claim Arroyo denied. So, this does beg a very big question. Is this a byproduct of the red pill movement? You know, is this just kind of a dark byproduct? May not necessarily be the main direction that the movement is going, but definitely say, you know, probably a loose cannon holding to the ideology. Or
my perception of it is he's too young to even know what red pill, blue pill, purple pill, black pill means, to even have the concept of it. This was teenage emotions gone awry, and if they were adults, the man would be in prison right now instead of just simply charged with something.
Yeah, because the way it's described, it sounds a lot like attempted murder. And he was wearing a bandana or wearing a mask. So this wasn't an incident of she denied him on the spot and he took action right then and there. This was something that happened after the fact. Something had happened prior, possibly, that led to this attack.
And I agree with you. I agree with you because Batman heard about it while I was talking about it. And he's like, I don't know all the details. And honestly, in my opinion, we just saw the pimple pop. We didn't see anything else prior to it. And that's normally what individuals see, is the incident that occurs after the buildup. We never see who initiated the buildup or who actually first started contact with each other. We don't know if she talked to him one day or looked at him one day and he started talking to her. We don't know the actual context of the beginning.
Yeah. Aaron goes, it's a systemic issue in most cultures that makes kids subconsciously see females as less or right immediate retribution when defied. Yeah, that there is quite a bit of that, you know, especially in Middle Eastern cultures, Aaron. But as far as Western society, that shouldn't be a factor anymore. You know, we kind of pride ourselves in Western society as being above that, and men and women are equal and all of that. We should have been beyond that point. But are there instances, you know, where, you know, was this an instance where we just caught on camera the pimple popping whereas there was probably a greater dynamic beforehand. And as far as kids go, it also goes with adults. I have a video. It's a very famous video. Go ahead and pull that up here. These are two grown-ass adults in a bar. You tell me who's at fault here, just based on your opinions.
Олег, блядь, я же говорил, Олег, блядь.
Go and play that back one more time.
Олег, блядь, я же говорил, Олег, блядь. Не провоцируй. Че, сука ебаная.
I call that mutual combat.
Yeah, she struck him first.
Yeah. If
And he
anything
open
else-
hand right back. Go ahead, Queen.
If anything else, for that one, if you think you have the rights to lay your hands on a man, then the man has every ability to lay their hands on you. You know,
Yeah.
don't sit there and think that just because you're a woman, a man won't hit you.
Yeah,
There are men still out there who believe in beating on a woman. They don't care if it's theirs or somebody else's.
Well, even at that, we kind of created a society where women think they're untouchable. A lot of people nowadays, and I say people because a lot of males are guilty of this as well. They don't want to have any accountability. They want to have all the perks and all the benefits of this, that, and the other, but they don't want any of the accountability. And women have taken that as like, oh, well, a man should never hit a woman, and kind of turn that in and kind of weaponize that against men in a lot of regards. And you see that a lot in the court system where women will try to provoke a man to hit them so that they get some sort of reward in the court, whether custody of the kids or whatever, and demonize the man as being unstable and abusive when she was the one that instigated the conflict. Now, there's actually been several cases that have been reported, especially in the red pill community, cases that have gone before psychologists, and it was declared by the woman that she was trying to get her significant other to hit her so that she could take him to court and take the kids away when she went to leave him. These would be in text messages that came out during the court hearings or whatever, between this person and their friends. Go, yeah, I'm going to try to provoke him and get him to hit me. Zero.
I like to address the comment that was just put down. It's not, the man did not continuously hit the woman. The man just, in my opinion, gave a mutual combat scenario with an object of equal or lesser destructive value. So she open hand slapped him, and he probably did about an 8th strength open hand slap and knocked her on her ass. He didn't continuously beat the lady. He slapped her away, like more or less, go away, leave me alone. You want to smack me? Not, boom.
Yeah, and I can acknowledge that he was a relatively bigger guy in this video. So I would say that, given that she was just knocked on her ass but was still very much conscious, then she could...
And then walk away. Well, the lady would have never learned the lesson. In a sense, I'm not promoting hurting another human. I'm stating the brain reacts by reward or
consequence.
Reward or consequence. And Batman agrees with me in a sense that some of these women weren't taught as children, so you need a consequence for being a spoiled child as an adult, expecting everything from everyone.
Yeah.
No, you're misunderstanding what I'm stating, Aaron.
I would say that no response potentially creates a situation where individuals, whether it be that person or onlookers, will see that there are no consequences to an action. But I will agree on the flip side that there are alternatives to hitting a woman. I've been hit by a woman. There was a woman that I was involved with years ago, and she got mad at me and hit me, and I scared the living daylights out of her. I did not raise a single finger to this woman, but I guarantee you, she never fucking hit me again. I didn't hit her. I didn't lay a hand on her. I did her no harm, physical or psychological, but I guarantee you, she never fucking hit me again.
And I also like to point out that that was a video in Germany. So
Yeah.
that's a different context of what went around. It's not an American context.
Yeah.
I bet you message is free and clear right there. You don't have to be in another country to know, hey, you're not, if you go and hit a man, he should have every right to hit you. He knocked you on your ass right into a chair so you didn't fall on the floor. And girl, take a rejection, okay? Because we
And
see this on both sides.
Basically, what I'm stating is the individual wasn't raised properly. So at some point in time in the adult society, there's going to be a consequence to your actions of not being raised as a proper human.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people in the younger generations are faced with the idea that they only want the reward, not the consequence. They want the freedom of choice, but not the consequence that comes with freedom of choice. And I'd be amiss to say that this isn't prevalent with women, especially in the dating pool, but is also very prevalent in men as well, especially in the younger generations. There are a lot of men out there, even men within our age demographic. We've all met somebody like that who has that narcissistic mentality where they want to do whatever the hell they want, and even as a man, and think that they are above the consequences until the consequences come and bite them in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't blame it on any one specific gender or any given culture, because this seems to be a universal issue.
Mm-hmm.
Women should not be hitting men, period, because that is an abuse of power. That is an abuse of ideology that a man should never hit a woman. Ergo, a woman now has a license to kill. That cannot be allowed to perpetuate and continue. However, on the flip side, we as men cannot sacrifice our moral standard and become barbarous, as you would put it off camera, Zero.
To state something real quick, women are actually lucky men aren't as aggressive as they state we are, because women would be in cages and used like product. Now, on the flip side, if women were in control, they would have no problem with hooking us up to milking machines and keep us in captivity. Just think about that for a second. Just think about it.
I like that.
I mean, you look at what feminism is and what it aimed to do. We'll just go ahead and jump right into that real quick. Let me bring up that video, because that's a fun little video. I have no audio for some reason here.
Yeah, that's the issue. We were just raised in a sense that we thought women were equal, and whenever in a sense, not a damn one of us are equal to each other.
Yeah, we can touch on that in a moment here, but I want to play this. If I can get it to play. I don't know why I do not have any audio here.
Did you click
quietly doubled the labor pool and helped?
Hold on.
Wait, what if the feminist movement didn't just liberate workers, but quietly doubled the labor pool and helped keep wages low?
Well, Father, critics argue doubling the workforce increased labor supply, which can suppress wages while also expanding the tax base for the state.
So how did families change?
Shifting gender roles weakened single-income households, increasing reliance on childcare services, credit, and government programs instead of family-based support, which led to the state indoctrinating the children young.
That feels unsettling.
Here is the deeper layer, Peter. In the US, women's workforce participation jumped from about 34% in 1950 to over 60% by 2000, boosting GDP and consumer spending, which corporations loved, while empowerment slogans conveniently doubled as marketing for cars, mortgages, and credit cards.
Was this all planned?
Well, the Rockefellers openly admitted to funding the movement, and there are some odd correlations with those involved in early feminism.
What kind of correlations?
Well, Andrea Dworkin has stated she wanted to destroy all things traditional, from the nuclear family to the church, as well as wanting to see a man beaten to a bloody pulp with a high heel shoved in his mouth. Susan Sontag stated, "The white race is the cancer of human history." Robin Morgan stated that man-hating is an honorable act. Margaret Feldman coined the term sexism, which was used to browbeat anyone who disagreed. Linda Gordon advocated breaking up families. Betty Friedan, Eve Ensler, Gloria Steinem, and Rosa Luxemburg were also prominent figures in pushing this ideology. And the common denominator of them all, they're all Jewish, Father.
Sounds kosher.
And get this, one of the biggest proponents of modern feminism is abortion, with around 1/3 of Gen Z being aborted. Also, there have been more abortions since 1980 than deaths caused by all wars to ever happened combined.
It used to be Moloch and Baal. Now it's Planned Parenthood.
What was once advertised as the opportunity to work has now become an obligation, with kids raised by the government, men and women at odds, and families falling apart with those in power reaping the rewards. And we know who's really in power, don't we, fat man?
Are you noticing yet?
And that goes along the lines of exactly what I was stating, that the suffrage movement, the only good thing that came out of it was that it got women out of bad situations. What it literally caused was a new form of division between men and women. And it literally caused the entire tailspin of feminism. And no, in a sense, some AI generated information is AI slop. But there's also people out there that go out and either A,
Do
the research, or B, ask the AI to do the research for them, so the extra legwork is in there because they may not have the resources to find the information. So they make a script so that the AI says it, but it's a script that was human made from legitimate resources and information and research.
Yeah, and people like us who grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, have seen the major transition in the breakdown of the nuclear family in contrast to the late 1970s, early 1980s to present day. We've seen this in real time. We've seen the predominant idea of single-parent homes becoming the primary norm and the state effectively raising the children, and the dependency on the state in terms of welfare and other subsidized programs. We've seen this increase abundantly in at least the 42 years I've been on this fucking dirtball. I've seen it abundantly. My mother, throughout the duration of my life, the majority of my adult life, was a recipient of the welfare system, getting Medi-Cal, food stamps, monthly cash aid, and even into my adult life, she immediately then transitioned to disability, even though she was not remotely disabled, exploiting the system so that she didn't have to work until the day she died. So to deny the reality that this is happening, that the nuclear family is effectively being destroyed, children are effectively being raised by the state, while the state effectively collects double the taxes per household, or has a single family, or has a single parent household that is prospectively in one way or another dependent on the system, for whether for monetary needs or for a glorified babysitter while the parent is at work. We cannot deny the reality that these things are happening, and we have seen a major transition from the nuclear family, husband, wife, children, and the parents playing a dominant role in the development of their children, to what we have today.
And to go down to the whole point of women weren't equal before, no. There was a lot of things put in place to protect women in a sense before the whole point of get your woman in the workforce so that she can make us money. No, that's not that was the whole point. They were causing a fracture, like you're stating, with the family structure. And like I explained, the only thing the anti-suffrage movement, good thing that came out of it was women were allowed the choice to get out of their negative relationships.
Yeah,
But
and they should have a
there's a
right
lot
to get
of
out of those abusive
that came out of it.
Yeah, Revan and I were experienced to somebody who was in a very abusive relationship. He would be with me on the phone many times while I'm driving to or from Conyers, Georgia, which is the other side of Atlanta. It's about 4 hours away from where I presently live. And I'd be driving there, once, maybe twice a week, Revan, to rescue this person from an abusive relationship because they kept going back under the pretext that this person had changed, only to wind up getting their fucking skull thumped for them again. Well, I won't put this person on blast, but this is a very common trope where abuse is a very prevalent issue, and people do need to be able to get out of an abusive relationship. They most certainly you cannot allow the perpetuation of somebody to abuse somebody and to hurt another human being. So I understand why these systems were initially in place, but we got to also acknowledge that there has to be a checks and balances here because we are seeing a shift in the dynamic of equality and protection to an abuse of power.
And I'd also like to put on the table that 70% of jobs, and this is a rough statistic that can be double checked against, but 70% of jobs, 93% of the workforce are men because they are bodily taxing or gruesome, gross jobs that women don't want to do. That 93% of women don't want to do. Now, yeah, there's that 7% of women that go out there and be brawl butchie and walk up the telephone pole and fix our electricity and everything. But another point I'd like to put down is that I'm just going to use it as an example because this is kind of what occurs. The WNBA, they were demanding that they got equal pay. No, you do 2/3 of a season with half of a game. How dare you get paid equal amount as a man that's doing a full game on a full season? And this is similar to the workforce. Women want to get paid equal or more than men for 2/3 of the job that a man can do.
Yeah. It's like saying, oh, I want to be paid the same price as an electrician or a trash truck driver, but they're not doing those jobs. You don't see many women in the electrical field or masonry or construction in general. You see very few women. But usually pay rate, whether regardless of gender, is the same. And it's primarily based on experience and general contract holdings, whatever the contractor negotiates with the customer. That varies as well. It's not so much a gender thing as much as it is terms of contracts between the customer and the contractor. We see that a lot in the division that both Aaron and I work in, where you will see some people in our industry who get paid quite a bit of money, like myself and Aaron, and other companies who are not getting paid as much money and are probably maybe even doing more work. Whereas I'm more in the industrial sector, we would have people in areas like hospital or say a brewery that probably aren't making as much money as I am. And sometimes, you'll have people who maybe work in a brewery who are armed security, and naturally they're going to make more money. Or if they're working for a company like Loomis, handling ATM machines and are armed security, they'll be getting paid vastly more money. So it's not a balanced scale in terms of gender equality as much as it is contract and necessity and what is required in the job. But,
now, I'm not saying that women can't do these things. Like I stated with the statistics, 70% of jobs are 93% male dominated. And that is because women don't want to do infrastructure jobs or gross jobs. They want to do, quote, easier jobs and want to get paid the same as a man who's done that job for a decade and a half.
Yeah, and I'm not opposed to that. I mean, but you gotta be willing to take the cut. I mean, like I work fire mitigation, and Aaron works as a dispatcher. Okay, he's not having to put out on the fire gear and get out there and fuck with the fire equipment and all that other stuff. He gets to sit there in the office and answer calls and monitor surveillance. So he and I are going to have a pay differential.
And by all means,
but if you were a woman, it'd be like, oh, well, where's the equal pay? It's like, well, we got equal pay fire mitigation officers. Okay, if you wanted that same pay, you got to do the same job. But we have different jobs that require different things. And therefore, the pay structure is going to be different.
And that's what I'm putting down. A dispatcher, I'm not saying that it's a taxing job. It's not bodily stress related. It's not the same thing as putting on 20, 30 pounds of gear, jumping on a truck and stopping a fire from completely burning down a city block.
Exactly. And, Aaron will be the first to admit, like he and I, we were doing the Friday dessert in his office area. We were in our downtime. We just sit there and record the few episodes of Friday dessert that we did. His job's easy peasy, and he says he doesn't want my job. He says he is more than happy to stay in the box and work as a dispatcher. Yeah, it's got its caveats, and believe me, especially the past couple of days we had, things got kind of nutty, especially as far as what he would have to deal with. But it's definitely way different than, again, throwing on the 30 pounds of fire gear and going and putting out a fire. Not to say that he couldn't do it, but I think he's pretty well happy where he's at.
It's a huge double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, when you look at jobs of what men do compared to what jobs that women do, men have a higher rate in suicide.
We do.
Women do. And the job, if you look at the times of the skyscraper era, right?
You're talking about the 1920s Crash 29 issue.
No, the Sears Tower, the Empire State Building. During that time, they were building structures that let's build a building that can reach the sky. Well, in India, they have, or India or China, they have a building that's like higher than anything else. That's like, holy shit, And bridges, Brooklyn Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, all that stuff, great. Symbol of strength, just the idea of building. But women claim they want equal treatment. They want equal treatment. No, they want special treatment.
Yeah. We have come to a point in time where we have transitioned from equality to a domineering mindset, and there's no denying the reality of this situation. It's not misogynistic. It's not misinformation or misogyny or toxic masculinity. It's just a reality looking at where we have come from in terms of the generations we grew up in and on back to where we are now. Most women come up, they get their value up front. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and play a video that really just kind of sums it up right off the bat here. Just give me 1 second and I'll get that loaded up here. I try to be on point as best I can. Hopefully the audio plays on this one.
I genuinely believe women have way more pride than men do. Like maybe the guys at the top that have money and status have pride, but they had to earn that pride. Women, though, on the other hand, I would say if you take like an average woman, she has way more pride than the average guy. Because for men, we have to earn our pride. Because like, let's say I'm a fucking loser, right? I run around, I'm like, I'm a king. People are gonna laugh at me. Like, nigga, you're a loser. But like, you guys run around and say, I'm a 10. Nobody tells you you're delusional if you're not a 10.
Yep.
I've seen girls that literally run around and say, I'm a 10. And you guys are there, yes, queen. I genuinely.
And that is not untrue. A woman at 18 gets her value up front because her value is based on a different set of dynamics than a man is. A man, his value is contingent on what he can provide: security, financial stability, his ability to provide, be a provider and a protector. Whereas a woman, it's her youth, it's her fidelity, it's her low to zero body
count. They don't want to
count.
be treated like a piece of meat, but they act like they are the filet mignon in the fucking meat section. But they don't want to act like they don't want to be treated like a piece of meat, even though they act like they are the best piece of meat on the market every damn morning.
And I'll get to that in a minute. But the dynamic that we face here, a woman's value is inherent on, her ability, her low body count, her femininity, her softness. Men don't want a woman who's been railed by 100+ guys, who's harder than fucking stone, and has reached an age where her fertility is. I mean, most men don't want that. They want young, beautiful, soft women who are willing to be wives. And I'm sorry to any woman out there who doesn't like this, but it was a woman who said it. Men want a woman who will cook, clean, suck, fucking shut the fuck up. And women want a man who is financially successful, strong, confident, who is going to be a solid leader, provider, protector, and raiser of their children. Yeah, they want somebody they know who's going to take care of them and can protect them and their children. Okay, so there's a trade-off. And a man does not get that up front. He has to work for it. He has to earn it. He has to build a career. I didn't have a career 20 years ago, or 24 years ago when I first became an adult. No, I was a punk kid out of high school, didn't have a fucking clue. And I had to scrape from the bottom of the barrel and rise and fall many, many times in order to figure out what it is I needed to do. And even just in the past few recent years, I had to learn what it is that women want, because I was brought up in that idea of that feminist culture of, be loving, be understanding, be in touch with your feelings, communicate, blah, 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 to the point that it became a double-edged sword and was weaponized against me and other men like myself, who'd be labeled as the nice guys, the simps, and get passed up for the douchebags that we have to go and rescue the chick 4 miles away on the other side of Atlanta because they get their fucking coochies wet for the bad boy. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, I'm talking to the chick in question one time, and she's like, yeah, you're husband material and whatnot. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, then why are we even here right now? If I am husband material, why are we not together? And why are you fucking around with this asshole? And why am I even doing this?
Because she's still playing the crowd, waiting to make sure that she made the right choice whenever she decides to make the choice. But the thing I wanted to say that I think I forgot.
It's called...
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Wanting her cake and eat it too.
and Reverend knows exactly who I'm talking about, so he has a little bit of experience with this one.
Oh,
I don't know why
man.
women think men are complicated. Men are simple. We need three things: clear minds, full stomachs, and empty balls. We're very simple. Women are confusing.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's a double-edged sword because the thing is, if you look at spousal abuse, right? It's a double-edged sword. Men are victims too.
Yeah,
Not
men
just
can
women.
very much be victims.
It's 50-50. You know, it's always 50-50 because the thing is, men can be victims too at a higher rate than women.
Yeah, because men are seen as the more dominant sex. We are physically stronger and ergo vastly more dangerous on a physical sense than women can be. And ergo, you have that barrier that has to hold men to a higher standard than women because women are viewed as the weaker sex. Not that there's inequality, but that there is a difference in what men and women bring to the table. There is a difference in the strengths and weaknesses that individual men and women bring to the table. Okay? We can't be considered equal because that's like trying to get a monkey to, or not a monkey, but a fucking elephant to climb a goddamn tree. It's like we've all seen the educational standard where the monkey climbs the tree and the elephant has to climb the tree, and the instructor's like, well, everybody has the same test. Everybody's equal. It's like, no, we're not equal. We have different strengths and weaknesses. The elephant can't climb the goddamn tree, whereas the monkey can. Okay, there can be no such thing as equality because we have different strengths and weaknesses as men and women. But we have created this society with feminism and with social media that women think that they are better than men because you have this girl who will get on to fucking social media and get all these likes and whatnot. Whereas people like us are getting on camera doing political podcasts and whatnot. And we're not getting as many views because we're not some young hottie shaking our goodies on the camera for clicks. I mean, I can shake my goodies if you want. I think I just embarrassed fucking Jen.
Hey, let's give Queen a few minutes to talk about this subject since she is the token female on the panel. And
yeah, let's go ahead. Go for it.
Quite frankly, I've always in life done it to a situational type of deal. That, yeah, you can do that job, but considering what men do are more killing aspect than females popping out babies, you won't see a man popping out a baby. You won't.
Like I said, we have different strengths and weaknesses.
And men, if I could say this both ways, so I'm just going to say the situation. Man, if you have to beat on a woman just because she rejected you and there was nothing done in the process to be getting hit,
then you're a piece of shit.
Boy, take the rejection and walk away.
Yeah.
That's all that is. It's a bruised ego. That's all it is.
It is. And one thing I do notice in the red pill community is the propagation of the idea of don't chase women. Don't put them on a higher pedestal than yourself. If a woman rejects you, fuck her, okay? Focus on yourself, focus in on bettering yourself and increasing your value, and the women will come. Don't chase. Be the one being chased. And a lot of people don't see that anymore. They think it's that old dynamic that the man has to chase the women. And women like the idea of being chased. And let's not mince words, Jenny. You're a woman. Would you much rather be chasing the guy or having the guy chase you?
Honestly, I'd rather be left alone.
She'd rather have a guy chasing her than be chasing the guy.
in my dynamic,
we all would, honey. We all would.
Like I said,
you know me very well, Sheldon, that even in high school, I didn't chase men.
No.
the dynamic legitimately is whether we want to accept it or verbalize it or not, women choose who they want to be with. Men decide if they allow them to remain.
Yeah.
I also want to throw out there real quick. The guy's friend was filming. Okay. Now this is an internet thing now too, because if y'all remember a couple years back or a few years back, a 19-year-old, his friend was filming him attacking a elderly guy.
Yeah.
And also, he had a English TikToker. His friends were filming him walking into someone's house and just sit on their furniture. Just walked right in. And it's a culture where it's about how many views, how many clicks, whatever that I could get. The thing is, I said this. The internet creates stupid people.
Yeah, the internet creates a society of clickbait problems. Social media has become a major problem, and I want to come back to that in a moment here. But I have got to race like a piss horse right now. So, why don't we go ahead and take a few minutes for a commercial break and go get something to drink and take a piss and rub one out or whatever.
What? Not that fast.
Well, I got to race
Get
like a
out,
piss horse.
Sheldon.
So,
Just get out.
I'll go burn
Yes,
a fag.
Tommy.
Oh, I can smoke a cigarette.
yeah, go smoke a cigarette or something. I got to go pay. So we will be right back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Reverend Ordo, and I'm a co-host of the Worldwide Resistance Network. I want to let you know about my content on my so here, check me out on Minds, Gab, MeWe, Cloud Hub, Tumblr, Parler, Getter, Rumble, Scoops, TikTok, and also on YouTube on the Anonymous Manawai Network and the Anonymous Republic Network. Also on Truth Social. And also check out the Worldwide Resistance Network. Also check out Tin Man TV. Also on Tuesday evenings, Gray Jedi TV. Quote the Raven, D's nuts. Peace.
Back, I went pee-pee in the ocean and I feel so much better now. Oh, man. No, I've been taking a lot of supplements, so my body's flushing out like a motherfucker.
I would call it.
I'd be lucky if I'm not pissing every 30 fucking minutes.
I would call it walking my territory.
Well, at least I'm pissing in the toilet, not in the corner like some wild fucking animal.
I've been doing one live outside.
So back to the point. No, in my personal comprehension, the boy is too young to even know what red pill, blue pill, purple pill, black pill is, number one. Number two, this was just a barbaric act of rejection. Number three, whether or not they were or were not exchanging messages can be actually found out, which proves the fact that in some sense the boy did have contact with her via her phone, because obviously if some of us, our phone is our life, everything's on the phone anyway, so you're already on the phone. Queen's like, where is she at?
Yeah, she stepped away during the break. I'll leave that to you to message her to let her know that we're back.
No, she's asking you, where did I go? That's what she's asking you from chat.
I was waiting for her to pop back on and say, hey, add me back to the chat. I don't know what happened from there, but I digress. But as far as this kid goes, yeah, I would say that he, in hindsight, is too young to really know what the red pill movement is, or what that theology is. But I think what a lot of people are getting, especially from this red pill movement, and a lot of kids, let's not mince words, do have access to this information and are being exposed to it, even if they don't know exactly what it is. And at which point it has to then be argued that are they prospectively getting the wrong message? Are they getting the wrong ideas in their heads? Because
not just that,
we looked up the red pill movement and what it actually entailed, and let's just go ahead and go down the list on that, because a lot of people are probably thinking we're misogynistic and toxic masculinity, but that's not what we're really about here. We're about exploring all angles of these issues, and and in doing so, we have to be willing to look at every angle, even if it's uncomfortable. Looking at the Google's definition and what they brought up in terms of what is the red pill movement. Red pilling in relationships refers to adapting a manosphere ideology that views dating as a strategic game where men are oppressed by feminism and women are inherently manipulative. It advocates for adopting an alpha male persona, utilizing manipulative techniques to gain power, and rejecting equality in favor of traditional gender roles, often leading to misogynistic viewpoints. Again, why a lot of people would probably be viewing us as misogynistic. But to say that relationships, whether in the quote traditional sense or the red pilling dynamic, it is a game of cat and mouse and a bit of manipulation there. We'd be amiss to say that it wasn't, because figuring out what the opposite sex wants is essentially a game.
We're also forgetting the single mother household too, the single parent household.
We did touch base on that, but we can double back to that in a moment here. But
I'd also like to point out what the internet has done, has broadened the horizon of quote choices, so that legitimately makes women go after the 0.1 percentile of men anyway.
Yeah, and that is the biggest problem, and that and I'll just leave the rest for whatever anybody else to sit there and read that. But that's essentially where a lot of this comes from, and where this inequality and imbalance comes from is the idea from social media that women are better than what they are, and women think that they're the prize and deserve the top 2% of guys, even if the top 2% of guys wouldn't even give them the time of day. And that's nothing against the individual, but we got to be willing to admit, where we're at in the grand scheme of things. And just because you get a lot of likes on social media doesn't make you a top tier motherfucker. Just because some female shows her goodies online and gets a lot of likes doesn't mean that she's going to wind up with a fucking billionaire. Yeah, you may get on the yacht, but are you wearing his ring? There's a huge disconnect from that. That'd be like me saying that given the amount of views we get and, how quickly we're growing in contrast to having come back and how big this whole operation has grown in the past year, that'd be like us saying that we're the equivalent of Alex Jones. Like, there's no comparison here. It's like we got to understand that we're not as big as we think we are. We're not the hot shit that we think we are. We're not the tens that we think we are. Yeah, we may get a lot of likes. We may be getting on the fucking yacht, but we ain't got the yacht man's ring on our finger kind of thing. It's like we need to humble ourselves and be realistic in terms of who we are and what we bring to the table. And this whole argument, well, what do you bring to the table? Well, I bring this to the table. Well, you know what? 90%.
I don't want the other half of this. That attitude, I don't want that.
Yeah, but you'll get a lot of that mentality, especially in Western culture, and that is a big problem because people want humble. Okay, they want confidence, but they don't want egomaniacs, and that goes for both sides of the fence. But again, that'd be like me saying that I'm the equivalent of Alex Jones, given how far we've come in the past year since we've come out of retirement. Okay, it's disingenuous.
Exactly.
But a lot of women will be caught up in this caveat. It's like, oh, they think that they have unlimited options. They think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong. A lot of these women are probably great women and have a lot to offer. But they're letting... It's pride before the fall is what it is.
And I also like to point out that I've seen in some locations people stating stuff like Hollywood has been promoting women to cheat, that it's cool that women cheat, but it's always been bad that men cheat.
Yeah, and it has. I mean, you look at every major love story. Titanic, The Notebook, fucking the Twilight series. It all promotes that same ideology. Women love this shit. And let me tell you, you put on one of those movies with a chick that you're on a date with, I guarantee you're getting laid that night. But, I'd be amiss to say that it doesn't perpetuate that way of thinking. And it is a double standard. And it's because we have created a society where, in trying to protect women, we've created a system where we protect them from their own accountability. And created this ecosystem of this untouchable 10 that is all that in a bag of chips, and nobody can fucking touch her, and nobody can fucking hold a candle to her, and nobody can hold her accountable. Like certain individuals that we've dealt with in the past, both men and women, who think that they can do whatever they want to anybody they want, and that there's no sense of accountability, that this world owes them a debt. And in particular, where the red pill movement has come in and where a lot of this gets twisted into misogyny is we have created a society in trying to protect women we have created a monster to where women think that they're the prize, they're the ones that need to be chased, blah, 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 and men need to bring everything and women need to bring nothing, and they can take everything. And, it's just all these problems that have amassed in trying to protect women while ignoring true measures of equality and balance. That we've shifted the balance out of balance. Whereas one time we might have had balance, somewhere in the transition between bang, pow, zoom, straight to the moon, and what we have now.
The honeymooners.
He got it. He's like, he wasn't talking about going to the moon. He was using an anagram to justify beating the shit out of his wife.
Ralph Cramden.
Yeah, but we've gone from that to what it is now. And we could say that, maybe we found a balance, but the balance has shifted. And now we have a society, especially in terms of the West, where women think that they're better than what they actually qualify for. They think they qualify for something more than what they qualify for. Take my buddy Wade. He's been on the podcast before. He's currently due to be married to this beautiful little Filipino girl. She's an absolute sweetheart. But when him trying to pursue women in the West, it damn near broke the man. It damn near broke him. And he was on the verge of giving up in a very bad way. And I'm not going to go into details, but had it not been for this woman coming into his life from the Philippines, it probably would have been a very bad scene. But he managed to meet somebody that treats him like a fucking queen, whereas a lot of women in the West, many of which were ugly as shit, wouldn't even give this poor man the time of day because he was in a wheelchair. But yet this little Filipino girl treats him like a fucking queen. And that's what women need to understand, is that it's not that you don't have value, but you can't overvalue yourself either, any more than I can overvalue myself. Like it talked about in that video. If a man who doesn't have value fucking boisters himself, he's going to make himself look like an ass. But we have created this society to where we don't hold women to that same standard anymore. And then you see instances like this boy with this girl and his mom getting on there and protecting him and coddling him instead of letting him be a man and take responsibility. It's like, no, you don't fucking hit women. You don't do what you did. You're supposed to be bigger than that. If a woman won't give you the time of day, you say, fine, fuck you, bitch, and you move on to the next. You focus on increasing your value and becoming the kind of man that a woman would want to be with. You increase your value and become that top tier man that every woman wants, and that you have the pick of the fucking litter. You don't fucking flip out and fucking power bomb a bitch in an alley. No.
She can die.
This is pretty much, if we look at it from 10,000 feet, exactly part of the plan of the 3Ds. Distract, divide, depopulate.
That's exactly it. And it's we have forgotten our roles, and we try to shirk accountability because women have been brought up to think like that, and then they go and protect their sons, who it's a mother's instinct to want to protect their sons. I now don't knock them for that, but then you create a situation where they're trying to avoid accountability, like what's going on with this young man having powerbombed this girl. Regardless of anything that girl did, you don't do what he did. Okay, there's no justification. Yeah, it may be the pimple that popped, and there may have been some factors that led to that, but he could have been the bigger person and walked away and held her accountable in some other way.
Yeah.
You don't freaking powerbomb a woman and curb stomp the girl. You don't do that.
And that's where I bring up the factor. He's young, and he deserves the consequences that should be rendered upon him.
Yeah, but then you got his mother who's saying, oh, it's not his fault. This girl was bullying him, blah, 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 blah. Okay, handle it smart. Work smart, not hard. Okay, you don't need to beat the hell out of a woman in order to get your point across. You don't have to excuse accountability in a bad situation, but you don't need to take it to the level where you become the bad guy. Yes, accountability needs to be had, and the situation needs to be addressed for what it is, and all parties need to be held accountable for their faults.
Yeah.
But now we've created a situation to where this girl, for whatever bad she's done, is now a victim, is going to be seen as a victim, and any wrong she done is going to be discounted. And anything that he faced as a victim is going to be overshadowed by his stupid actions. And subsequently, his mother is going to be teaching him that it's okay. You were, quote, defending yourself. Well, there's a right and a wrong way to go about it.
It was showing that she was trying to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
So where did the bullying happen? You know,
and I'm agreeing with Reverend over here. It looked more like he was the one pursuing the issue, whether or not she was messaging him or not. He might have been forcing her to message him, and that's what's coming down. We don't know the legitimates of the thing, but we see no matter what that he was the one pushing the issue. I'm not
he
stating
was
whether or not
clearly pushing the issue. And regardless of anything we didn't see on camera and anything that might come out after the fact, all of that's going to be overshadowed by his actions. Even if she was more of a perpetrator in the long run, she's going to be seen as the victim. And even though he might have been a victim in the long run, he's now going to be seen as a perpetrator because of his single choice. The truth of the issue is now going to be overshadowed on both sides because of this young man's stupid behavior, which he should not have done. To be a true masculine, you got to be a provider and a protector. And he is not demonstrating that. And young men need to learn that you don't chase a fucking female, dude. You don't. You increase your value, and you don't sit there and try to get them to see your value. You just do you and elevate yourself, and they see it naturally. They smell it. They smell it naturally. Now, I'm not trying to put a female on blast here. I'm not trying to knock the female sex, but I'm going to give an example. After I walked away from the woman that we had referenced, about a year later, another chick comes back into my life that's kind of been like one of those friends trying to escape the friend zone thing. She came back into my life and she started trying to win me over when I bought this house, offering to paint my bathroom. He's like, she was going over the top trying to impress me, trying to win me over. And I'm like, look, I'm not interested. And there were a lot of reasons I was not interested in this chick. First and foremost, she was previously involved with one of my friends, and I don't do that. I don't date the exes of my homies because that's just a huge slap in the face as far as I'm concerned. Plus, I saw how she did him, and then she was coming around after I just bought my house, bought a new car. I'm doing well, and then all of a sudden, this chick comes out of the woodwork. I hadn't heard from her in years. Yeah, gold digger. And like, I wasn't taking that shit from the chick I was involved with previously. I wasn't taking it from some hottie in her 20s. I'm not going to take it from some old grandma bitch whose face looks like somebody tried to put out a forest fire with a screwdriver. Nothing against her as a person or her looks, but you know what? I see this for what it is. And if I'm not going to take it from one, I'm not going to take it from the other. But this is one of those examples where somebody thought they were bigger shit than what they were. And they needed to be humbled, but I didn't need to fucking body slam them into the fucking concrete in order to get my point across.
Yeah.
I just said, hey, look, I'm not interested. And I didn't even tell them the whole screwdriver thing. I was nice. I was overly nice, probably to my detriment with this person. And they thinking it was probably like, oh, I'm not over this chick. It's like, no, I have higher standards and I see the kind of person you are and I'm just not down. Please leave me alone. I was fine with being friends, but you're trying to cross that line, and I'm making it clear you can't cross that line, and you're still trying to cross that line, you're out. Bye. It's like you can put somebody in their place without having to do any physical or psychological harm to them.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it goes back to the fact that they were a teenager, but it doesn't excuse the fact of what had occurred.
No. And they probably maybe have seen some of this red pill stuff on the internet, and there's no denying that the red pill movement, in contrast to the feminine movement, you're going to see some pushback with what we've seen from the feminist movement and trying to destroy the nuclear family, make men subservient to women, and all of that. There's going to be some pushback, and we just need to get back to the basics of our roles and what men expect from a woman, what women expect from men, and how that dynamic works. Okay, if men work and increase their own value, women are just going to come. They smell the shit. They smell it. They're like, I smell money. I smell security.
You also look back at the Steubenville, Ohio scandal back years ago.
Yeah.
16-year-old girl went to a party to hang out with all our friends and classmates and stuff like that. You had members of the football team getting her drunk, and each took turns on her.
Yeah.
And in that city, football is gospel. It is church. You know,
it is.
Thing is, it's not the reason why you want to look. The whole town wanted to protect these boys. Well, until a video came out, which was a big what the fuck, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it got bad. They tried sweeping it under the rug until Anonymous came in and said, hey, look, we're not going to bear this. We're going to bring it to the light.
Yeah. Because there does need to be
and
accountability.
only two of them got a year in prison. A year for rape. A year.
Yeah, that's not right. There needs to be accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And it really taught the idea that, oh, well, I'm a football star, so I can get off the hook. I get to get it. That's my get out of jail free card.
So you're going to throw two under the bus while others go off and have a better career in the future? Fuck that. Throw them all in lockup.
Yes, absolutely.
Make a legal example out of these little bastards, man. Like, dude, look.
Exactly. And I'm not denying that there are guys out there who get accused of wrongdoing when they're completely innocent. You know, they hooked up with a girl at a party, they got stupid, and then the next day she regrets it and decides to scream rape. Or she has a fallout with the guy and she decides she's going to scream rape. Or they're getting a divorce and she screams domestic violence or rape or tries to pin him for some shit or trying to provoke him into doing some shit. We see it all the time. It's an abuse of the system. And that's what it really comes down to, is an abuse of the system where men feel like their backs have kind of been pushed against the wall in a lot of regards. And that's not me trying to be misogynistic. I'm looking at the reality that there are people out there in abundance, not saying all of them, but there are people out there in abundance who will exploit the system, who will know how to manipulate things and manipulate people in order to suppress and hurt somebody else. And it's reached such a degree, especially in terms of men versus women, where men feel like their backs are against the wall.
And men are restraining themselves out of pure respect, and now they expect us to literally fully restrain ourselves whenever they decide to become the aggressors, and not in this instance. This is a kid not knowing what it's not an immature child not knowing what's going on, and he messed up. But
he could grow up to be one of those kind of people that could go, okay, well, if I got away with this, what else can I get away with? Just like
if he doesn't receive a consequence from it.
Yeah, there has to be a consequence for the actions and the truth, and it has to be based in the truth of the situation and handled in accordance. There has to be consequences all the way around for this person, but in the right context. it needs to be understood. All the variables of this situation need to be understood so that it doesn't continue to create a situation that we've seen many, many times in the past. And we see many, many people who don't get put on blast in the public eye that grow up to be abusive fucking psychopaths because they got hurt by a female or they got pushed back by this feminist bullshit and they pushed back in the wrong way and got away with it. And now that's their fucking road to hoe. That's not okay either. And that's the premise of where I was trying to get is this creating a system of monsters by way of self-preservation? Yeah, this kid was a young kid, but had he not gotten put on blast publicly, what would he have become as a result of him simply trying to push back against what could have been a situation where he's just trying to push back against being a victim? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, but do you understand where also I'm coming from, where men have grandly restrained themselves already, and that has more or less enticed the female to step over the line even more? And I don't mean beat the woman. I'm just basically stating, like we said, we're men. If we wanted to, we can restrain women and put them in caves and trade them off like product.
Yeah. And, you know, I can't say that I wholly disagree with a lot of what the red pill's propagating is, you know, men need to be accountable. They need to take control of their lives and be responsible for the good, the bad, and the ugly that they produce. If you do something stupid, you need to be accountable for it. If you did something great, you're accountable for it. If you forgot your umbrella and you're out in the rain and you get wet, that's your own dumb ass fault because you should have read the weather report and brought an umbrella. You know, I can agree with stuff like that. I can agree that men need to work less on chasing females and putting them on a pedestal and just working to increase their value and what they bring to the table and just let the situation be a come what may. And I do strongly advocate that the idea that social media has ruined the average woman into thinking that they are better than what they actually qualify for and that they are inevitably hurting themselves and shooting themselves in the foot in terms of a good relationship because of these misguided notions that of, quote, celebrity and social media clout has brought to the forefront in this delusion of putting people on a pedestal that otherwise wouldn't deserve it because, hey, there are plenty of beautiful females in the world, but that doesn't necessarily make you a 10. There are tons of women who are out there who aren't necessarily the most beautiful things in the world, but will probably make the best fucking wives you will ever fucking meet. And that's the understanding we need to get back to, is that women need to get off this high horse that social media does not define your value. And that women need to get off this high horse and humble themselves. And I hate to say this, but it needs to get back to reality. Women are looking for a man that is financially stable, makes X amount of money, can defend them, can do this, that, and the other. They have these high expectations. At which point women need to understand, especially these misguided women, that women are not the prize, they are the product. At which point they are looking for somebody to invest in them. If you have somebody who has all the money, you think the top 2% of motherfuckers on the planet, you got 9 billion people on the planet. 51% of them are men. You're going for the top 2%. You think you're not in... Does a woman honestly think that she's in a position to where she is the prize, not the product? When you have 51% of the population chasing after 2% of the population? Come on.
And that's the thing.
This is a damaging notion.
And like, I'm going to repeat myself again. A lot of women misunderstand that they choose who they want to be with, but the guy allows them to remain.
So,
That's
yeah,
what
you
they
may-
misunderstand.
It's like I said, but it's like I was saying earlier. You may have gotten on the boat, but did you get the ring on your finger? And that's where it needs to be understood of the whole dynamic of princess treatment and being the prize versus being the product. The man brings the money, the man brings the protection, and all this shit. He's the leader, the provider, the protector, so on and so forth. At which point, he has the assets to say as to who he wants in his bed and as his queen. And at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, the woman he chooses is not going to be the girl on the boat. So just because they got on the boat doesn't make them wife material. They need to understand this. They are the product. The man is the investor. And if a man is truly a man and he is working to better himself so that he can be the best provider for himself and for a wife and a prospective family down the line, then he has the clout to sit there and say, I'm the investor, you're the product. I get to choose what I want. Because most women are just essentially going, well, I bring this. Well, so does every other fucking female on the planet. Okay, that makes up 51% of the population that bring this to the table. What sets you apart from them? And that's where we need to get back to. We need to get back to what sets a person apart from just, well, I bring this. It's like, well, you know what? I bring the yacht. I bring
Has anybody ever seen
wallet.
the 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Oh man, that movie was hilarious.
I watched it before. I don't have time, but the term putting the pussy on the pedestal, right? And it's kind of like, okay, here's a guy 40 years old, never really got anywhere, being accused of putting the pussy on the pedestal. What does that even mean exactly? Like, I mean,
That's changing the product into the prize, more or less.
yeah.
And the reason I point that out is because if you place somebody above yourself, then you are devaluing yourself, for one. And two, you are putting that person in a position to see you as less than equal. If you put a person on a pedestal and you're not on a pedestal, there's an inequality there. Okay, so the person that you put on a pedestal, they're going to be looking down on you. And most women, they want the best option they can get.
And again, it's a double-edged sword and it's 50-50 because the thing is, here's why. MGTOW, men go their own way. I'm part of that. I'm part of that. And then also you have women choosing to be living and be bi or living as a lesbian because they don't want to deal with the bullshit from a guy anymore.
Well, I mean, you see the divorce rate there is actually higher than the divorce rate between homosexual men and straight men. The divorce rate is like about 50-50 in the male and female relationships. It's virtually non-existent. It's like somewhere in the teens between homosexual guy relationships.
Yeah.
But is
before my uncles
astronomically high between lesbian relationships.
Before my uncles passed away, they was about to celebrate their 50-30. My non-blood uncle was turning 50, and it was their 30th anniversary.
Yeah. It's about destroying the nuclear family. And they played the serpent to Eve is what they did. It was the serpent playing to Eve again. And Eve fell for it. And now you got this woman mentality that women don't need men. They can have a career. They can be a boss babe. They're the prize. And most of them are running around with no accountability, many of which becoming whores having body counts of which I've never seen. In fact,
but they don't need men. But they don't need men.
yeah, but yeah, they
Men are
have
the ones
body
that
count.
buy that.
And we had a conversation at work where one of our coworkers knew somebody that had like a 16 body count. And I'm like, wow, that's low compared to some of the females I've known. And they're like, wait, what?
You also have women that aren't like that, but choose to stay with the female partner
Mm-hmm.
and live happily, you know. And
and it does happen.
And they don't have the body counts, you know. They're loyal to each other because, like, they're happy, you know. I mean, my son, he's happy. He's engaged, man. He's engaged, dude, and he's happy, you know.
Yeah. Was your son ever heterosexual, or was this always like he always knew that he was gay?
Not
trying to put him on blast. I'm leading to something here.
He came out to me when he was just turned 17, just turned 17, 18. And as a parent, I took the higher road.
Mm-hmm.
I let it sink in. You got to be a parent on a higher road, on a higher hill here, and just stop and think. Really seriously stop and think, you know. That's your child who's terrified, who's scared. They need you more than ever. But you got parents who are so religious. Fuck that. Your faith can be in the background for a while. Your kids come first, man, you know.
Well, a lot of people will say God, the mother over the children, the husband over the home, or over the family, and God over the home. Now, you can have a godly home, but still respect people's right to choose. I mean, that's like taking the tree of the knowledge of good and evil out of the garden. You can be a religious family and still allow for agency and allow your children to make their own choice.
But
you don't have to shun them for it.
No.
You don't have to try to remove that the ability of choice from them, but
you got the parents who choose faith and respect. I mean, I get you want to have faith. The thing is, there has to be a family dynamic under that faith. You got to love your child no matter what they go through, guide them, protect them, and also make sure that they're well treated properly. Because the thing is, you got parents who were in a relationship or in a home that they got treated poorly in a way where it scarred them mentally and emotionally. Like, dude, you know.
Yeah, in a lot of regards, parents don't know what it takes to be a parent. I mean, no, kids don't come with instruction manuals.
No.
I mean, most of us go into parenthood just try not to make the same mistakes our parents made. And in a lot of regards, I think that's that has been a large contributor to the way things have gone in terms of parenting and societal structure. We tried to protect our kids. We tried to coddle them. Everybody gets a fucking participation trophy. No accountability like what we're seeing in this case. There's a lot of variables that kind of take the leash off the child and allow for the child to run amok. And ergo, there's no responsibility, whether male or female. And they think they're entitled. They become a bunch of self-entitled little shits that want to do whatever the fuck they want to do and be completely free of the consequence. Yeah. And that's where we have come as a society. And now the government wants to step in and go, okay, parents, take a step back. We're raising your children. And that just makes matters worse.
I can admit, when I was in my teens, you know, I was about 16 years old, you know, thought my shit didn't stink at the time. You know, of course it does now, but
I mean, yeah. That's what you expect.
me and my dad a couple times got into a blows, like literally blows, man. You know, and
Mhm.
you know, I deserve what I got because I instigated it. I started it, you know. And the thing is, I admit to my dad, I go, hey, the ass whooping I got, I deserved it. I admit that. I did.
Mhm.
But it's a life lesson that if you start some shit, trust me, you ain't finishing it. You be finished yourself.
Yeah, and even if you do finish it, you know, you have to be willing to take the wins and the losses. Whether it's a win or a loss, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But you got to be willing to take either or. If you're willing to play the game, you got to be willing to take the win or the loss.
I would rather take the loss and the beating from my dad over anything.
Yeah. Zero, you had a thought? Oh, I'm sorry. Reverend, finish your thought, and then Zero, you had a thought, I think.
Because the thing is, in the Bible, respect your elder, man.
Yeah.
Not every young teen does that. They don't care because they're raised on culture,
bullshit,
ideology, bullshit, and music, like the darkness of hip hop, right? The darkness of hip hop, all raised on beating a woman. Like for example, King Von, who's dead now, talks about murdering some guy and got away with it. The guy was a serial killer, rapping about killing some dude, you know. But he got killed himself.
Yeah, you'll get your up and comings eventually, but we've created a society that thinks that they can avoid accountability.
This is a hip hop that it's the verbal gravity that bring young kids that are either in a home with just the mom or both the mom and dad, and yet they love the aura of being the bad guy, being the bad boy. But thing is, in the end, there is no yellow brick road.
Nope, there isn't, and
it's a street of tombstones in the Reaper.
Yeah. So basically, 30 to 50 years ago, the mom would have beat the shit out of the little boy, regardless of motherly protection or anything. And in a sense, I think this may be either A, a front, or B, proof how much the dynamics of what has gone on and what we are forced to digest and accept through society has changed the aspects of what once was. Yes, I understand there was a lot of negativities back in the day between 30 and 50 years ago, but at least it gave us a moral compass where we weren't out in the street body slamming women just because they rejected us. That's what this mentality has caused of not raising your kids properly and babies having babies. Look at the world we have now.
Yeah, and it's because we have a culture that is imbalanced. A lot of females think they have more value than they do, and a lot of men in society think they have less value than what they do. Okay, there's that imbalance. People need to, and we have done it to ourselves. We have created a society that puts certain females on a pedestal and demonizes the male race, especially the white male race. Now, I'm not trying to be racist or misogynistic or anything, but we've seen in the past several years a demonization of the white race, Christians, and the white male. And God help you if you're all three. We've seen that dynamic time and time again, and it's only gotten worse. And it's creating a beta male simp culture and elevating the toxicity in women, the in value of and the self-loathing of men and the overinflated egos of many, many women in the West, and it's creating that imbalance. And then you wind up seeing somebody getting pushed to the limit because the average human can only be pushed so far, and then they snap, and then you got an article where some kid body slams a chick in the street and beats the hell out of her. Not saying it's all right, but we got to look at the bigger picture of what created this culture of imbalance. Men do not see their worth. We don't have balance anymore. The balance has shifted. Men feel less worth. Women feel way too much. We need to get back to a balance. We have gone from inequality to creating a beta male culture, and men are not designed that way. And if pushed too far, they're eventually going to push back. And that's where you get a lot of your abusive relationships, is because these men have been conditioned to think that they are so far beneath a woman that the only way to keep her is to beat her into submission, because he doesn't see his worth as a man and go, okay, I can raise my value. I make this much money. I have this much strength. I know this. I know that. These are all the things I bring to the table. A man doesn't look at that anymore and go, I don't need to take this shit. I don't need to be in a relationship where I'm being mistreated, and then decide to go and just walk away. Instead, they think, well, this is as good as I'm ever going to get, so I need to beat this bitch into submission and get her to toe the line because I'm a worthless piece of shit and I can't find anything better. That is the created imbalance that we have created as a society. And I'm not saying women are bad, and I'm not saying men are bad. I'm just saying that with this culture, we have created an imbalance.
It's the behavior of character.
It is.
And there's outliers in this as well. Like, this may or may not be considered an outlier, but there are some women, and I think he may have touched on this and walked away from it, that, like I said, it's an outlier, that provoke the man just to get the reaction, just so that they can, quote, make up sex. Just to keep it pretty clean and censored about where I'm getting at, is like, that's the foreplay, so to speak.
Yeah, because a lot of women want that strong man. They want that aggressive man. They don't want somebody who's going to hurt them, but they want the dangerous man, but they don't want the dangerous man to be dangerous to them. Whereas the dangerous man is a danger to everyone and everything around him, including himself.
But I'm getting to the outliers.
Because these are beta males that don't see their value.
That want to be hit. And that's what starts the engine, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them do like that.
That's something I'm trying to shine the light on a little bit, too, that this may or may not be related to the scenario, but it is an outlier like this scenario is.
Yeah, I've been there. The woman that I referenced initially, she was into that shit hardcore. And I'm put in a position like, okay, well, what if I play along and then all of a sudden she decides to flip the script on me? No means yes until it means no. That's what always concerned me. And I'm just like, I just can't with this chick. And I think that's what inevitably killed the spark between us right from the get-go, was because I just wasn't willing to take the risk of no means yes, except for when it means no. Like, I could see she was into this shit, but I'm like, do I really want to roll the dice and risk whether or not this person's going to fucking flip the script on me later and say, oh, well, he beat the fuck out of me kind of thing. And it's like, oh, crap. Like, I didn't want to go that route, so I just played it safe.
That's like the consent thing, is that, you know, you got two consenting adults about the, and then at the end, then 24 hours later, it's like, the woman has a
spaz attack.
Yeah, and then like try to renege the consent. Like, okay, well, you can't renege on the thing because both you consented, and you can't say, well, I'm going to take it back and play victim. No, go fuck yourself. both you consented. It was a consent, right?
Yeah. Well,
So-
there are many times where a man doesn't do anything at all, and he still gets accused of shit that he didn't do. He could never fucking touch a woman, and because
He looked at me.
Yeah. Oh, but you also have situations where you could be involved with the chick. She wants to go all the way and do something, but then like he shies away for whatever reason, and she gets butthurt and then decides to blame him for shit. He raped me even though he never actually touched her. And it's because he never actually touched her is because she's claiming rape. I mean, men get put in a very bad situation a lot of times, and they're scared. And that's where this red pill movement comes in. It says, you need to just focus on you. Stop worrying about these females. Increase your value, and the right one will come along. Don't chase it. And that's why I don't like this fucking soulmate bullshit anymore. Like, I used to fucking be down with the whole soulmate thing or the twin flame thing. And I'm like, no, this is just a fucking death trap. This is a trap. Because then you get in that mentality of this person is the end all be all. And if it doesn't work out, oh no. Whereas men need to just focus on increasing their value, becoming the best man that they can be, and just letting the right person come along when the time is right. Stop chasing and stop putting people on a pedestal, and just fucking put yourself on a fucking pedestal and earn that fucking pedestal. And the right person will come along when it's
time. I went on
time.
this date back in 2018, early 2018 for 3 months. I went on 2 dates each month with this chick, and it was cool. I mean, I was looking forward, dating and all that stuff, but it was, to me, it was better.
Yeah.
Because what was it, sex? No. Don't need it. Wasn't even looking for it. I was just being happy where it was going.
Yeah.
A nice smile, conversation. That's what, I mean, in my age, that's what I would love to have again.
A clear head.
Exactly. Clear head minus the bullshit. And it was. And she was cool. She was really cool. And I was 40, she was 36, I was 42.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. It's like, dude, straight up awesome. Because the thing is, there's communication and respect. That was it.
Yeah, and that's what it really comes down to is we need to get back to mutual respect. Now, respect has to be earned, and it has to be earned on both sides. Okay? Men need to bring more to the table than just spitting good game. And women need to be willing to humble themselves and bring more to the table than just, well, this. Okay?
I think Queen may have found something to say.
Go for it, Queenie.
No.
Basically, how I've always seen it is that males, if you wouldn't want that same thing done to your mother, why would you do it to a woman? And it could go same for the opposite sex.
Yeah, be the kind of man, be the kind of father. A father should be the kind of man that he wants his daughter to marry.
Yeah, and it's like, if you wouldn't allow harm to happen to your mother, why should you do it to another woman?
Yeah, or your daughter.
Or even if you're a daughter, would you want another woman treating your father like he's just made of money?
Exactly. But there are a lot of women who perpetuate that, and I've seen that as well. And it's a very unhealthy dynamic. You know, mothers will teach their daughters this shit in many regards, and it's very sad. I think we need to get back to a lot of the traditional values that we held back prior to the 1980s. You know, not the whole bang, pow, zoom, straight to the moon type mentality, but
well, even back in the 90s. Even back in the 90s, we had the thing that if you want a man to respect you, you need to not only respect him back, but treat him like he deserves the respect.
Mm-hmm. Respect is
And-
earned, not given.
Yeah. And if you want a husband and everything and all that, be a wife to yourself before you are one to another, to a man.
You can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself, right?
Mhm. Treat
Yeah.
yourself as if you would treat the opposite sex.
Yeah. Right.
How many of you remember the 90s that women wore these pants and shorts with words on the back and shit?
Oh,
Now-
I know where he's going.
You're
You're not
seeing
juicy.
you're seeing these girls now in their early 20s, late teen, early 20s, sitting on some guy's car doing a selfie. It's like they raided their mom's closet from the 1990s.
I've seen those.
Girls, when you hit 50, you ain't juicy.
That's why their mamas ain't wearing that shit.
Stay out of your mama's closet. It don't matter if she's swinging a double dog or a lightsaber dildo. Hey, wear your own shit. Stay out of your mom's closet. That's her hall of shame.
Yeah, we need to get back to the relationship
Reality,
dynamics.
Reality. Come on, man. They're
Yeah.
gold. I mean, they're just like the moms to be gold diggers. I mean, I'm saying not all women are. There are, again, 50-50 here. 50-50. Even Quinn can help with this one. You have women who want to play like they want to get a guy, and I make like, I want $100,000 in a car.
Yeah.
But I met you. So
Go get it.
okay, I got a gift for you. Hold on. Here you go. What's this? It's a gold shovel, so you can bury yourself in it. The gold digger. Not up your nose, but basically you're a gold digger. Here.
Yeah, we need to get back to the relationship dynamic ideals that our parents grew up with.
Oh, yeah.
And more than anything, mutual respect. And respect is earned. Men need to see their worth. We need to understand what we each bring to the table and work to be the best versions of ourselves. That's what it really comes down to. Respect and admiration are earned. Men equate love with respect. And I have faced this many times. And that's what's caused me to leave a lot of relationships and get to where I am now. Because love and respect go hand in hand for a man. And for many of these women, and I'm not saying it was all women, but there's been quite a few who chose to disrespect me, so I chose to leave. Sometimes I made a stink about it. Sometimes I said nothing at all. Sometimes I simply said, goodbye, this ain't working, bye-bye. And sometimes I'll go on a date with her best friend.
Or
the case with my most recent ex.
Or you get her best friend to beat her up, whichever works better.
Okay, I'm just going to put it out on blast here. I'm not going to say names. But last summer I was involved with this chick. She started trying to pull the gold digger shit on me. I told her to knock that shit off. And she'd back off for a little bit. And then she tried again. And I fucking cut her off. She came back later. Tried to apologize. I'm like, okay, this is your last fucking shot. She was cool for a couple of weeks. Then started getting stupid again. So I went on a date with her best friend and we sent her the pictures. I didn't fuck the girl or nothing. Just went out on a date. We went to the taco place down the street. Took some pictures and sent them to her.
Here's what I do. Date her
Like,
friend.
I ain't playing that shit.
Hey. I would fuck a friend, take pictures, videos on a USB drive. It's a gift for you.
Yep. No, we sent it. We sent it to her. Her friend sent it to her.
A picture of her friend with nut on her face to her.
Oh, I didn't even know how to do that. Just freaking take a snapshot of me and her kissing at the Mexican restaurant. Send it to her. She never spoke to me again. The restaurant, we talked for a couple weeks, but we decided we just weren't compatible. So we're just like, okay, we had some fun. Cool.
Thing I wouldn't do that is at a salad bar at Wendy's.
Well, I mean, after tequila's been shitting on it for what, 30 years now?
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But
Clams on it, by the way.
What?
Clams on it, by the way.
Oh God, dude, shut up. Oh my God. But,
I think that's the cue, Tin Man.
Yeah, what I am getting at here is men need to have self-respect, and they need to not let themselves be doormats. And our women need to humble themselves and not treat other people like doormats. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. This pedestal this idea that you're better than everybody else, you're screwing yourselves out of good guys, for one. And two, this mentality and this boss babe mentality and this career-oriented mentality, statistically, women are more miserable now than they have been in all of human history, and are more medicated now than they have been in all of human history, even modern history. Okay? The problem is these delusions of grandeur and whatever the opposite would be are making people miserable and destroying the nuclear family and destroying the relationship dynamics. We need to get a balance back here, ladies and gentlemen. We need to get back on balance. And at which point we're going to be a lot happier in society. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and put the turkey in the oven and start getting ready for work and handling what I got to handle. Does anybody have any closing thoughts really quick?
Yeah, Queen, go first.
Well, let's where was I going with this? Shit.
You were going to take a shit?
No.
I was like, okay, we need another commercial break.
No, I was thinking that I have always been the type of female to allow men to treat me correctly.
Yeah.
Always been. And yeah, if you're going to date me, yeah, you need to show me that you can respect me. And men know who they can be disrespectful to and know who needs to, hey, I need to shut the fuck up because a real female is here.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's like, if you have a man acting with you that he has only one thing on his mind, and that's it,
wash it.
You should know that you're not seen to him as anything more than that.
Yeah. And that's why you date, and that's why you have the courting process to see if you're a good match for this person, and to see the kind of person that you prospectively could spend the rest of your life with, and whether or not that's a good fit. But at the same time, you don't abuse that and use that for a free dinner or to get on a boat or whatever these chicks do. Yeah, I mean, how many chicks you see on these yachts with these millionaires? You never see the fat, middle-aged or elderly billionaires on the boat. You just see the girls taking selfies on the botes.
Well, at the same time,
you see it all over social media. I've seen it for decades.
Well, not just that, they say men only think about one thing. Wash it.
Man, I think about one thing is disgusting. Well, wash it, bitch.
It's like,
if I can wash my balls, you can wash your fish.
Are you taking your balls to the ball washing thing at the golf course again, Robin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
In honor of Mr. Giggles.
He just couldn't keep himself out of trouble.
Yeah.
But on that note, we're going to go ahead and put the turkey in the oven. to where you can just go down all sorts of different rabbit holes. I wanted to touch on this to point out the prospect that, you know, men have been simplified. They have allowed themselves to be devalued to the point where they don't see their worth, and their only means of pushback is that basic violent animal instinct. And we need to be better than that. Men and women, both. We need to be better than that as the human species and treat each other with dignity and respect and get our priorities straight in terms of our values. That was pretty much my premise here. Otherwise, we're going to start seeing more and more of this. And the Red Pill community, which has a lot of good ideas, is going to create a monster. That was my premise. Now, there's many other ways this could be taken, many other points that could be made. At which point, I say it. This podcast and every podcast we do is of the people, by the people, for the people. So if you like these podcasts, share them. Follow us on REALTWWRN on X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN. Check out our online store. Tons of great merch, as you saw in the commercials, with so much more to come. I was going to put up some new ones this week. Things got nuts at work, but on my day off, I will be putting that up, and they will be in time. Should be in time for Jedi TV, and I could probably plug that there or on
this Tuesday TV. This Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Be part 3 and a finale of exposing rumors and pedophiles in the gaming community.
And that is at what time, Reverend?
6.
6 what time? Central, Pacific, Standard, what?
Pacific, 8 Central, 11 Eastern.
All right. Well then, so we will be back then for Tin Man TV. Until then, keep the conversation going. Again, this is something that has all different types of rabbit holes you can go down and areas you can cover, for better or for worse. We just try to cover the angles that aren't necessarily going to be covered. So that was my focus here. So until next time, I am the Tin Man, Chris Sheldon with the Worldwide Resistance Network. On behalf of Revan, Queen Bitch Jenny, and Curse Zero, if you are watching this, you are the Resistance. Stay strong, stay safe.
These nuts.
Quote Revan's nuts. Give him a good squeeze. You know, just kind of like. And until next time. What?
Get out, Revan. Just get out.
Martin, she's trying to flex today, ain't she? The name suits the personality for sure.
I've always been a bitch.
Before we leave,
hey, if the shoe fits, wear it, right?
Before we leave, make sure you stay and neuter your local neocon, rhino, progressive, liberal, and for free, we'll send you a Marxist, fascist, communist, and a bill hole.
This video is going to get pulled from Facebook again. I just got the other one put back up. You're going to get this one pulled. I'm going to have to fight with Mark Zuckerberg again.
It's only satire, ladies and gentlemen. Only satire.
Yeah, we are not advocating threats of violence or toxic,
exactly. No harm, no
toxic
foul,
abusive
no
behavior.
No clam slamming.
There you go. So until then, until next time, thank you, Revan, Queen Bitch, Jenny, Zero, and thank you for everybody who tuned in. Keep the conversation going once we go off air. And as always, if you're watching this, you are the Resistance. Stay strong, stay safe. God bless you all. And again,
wash your balls.
And again, wash your balls, because you are the Resistance. And the Resistance, and a good Resistance member has clean balls. Peace, ladies and gentlemen.
Trips.
You can hear this. You are not alone. This is the Resistance.